Greg Ehrenberg from OddsShopper here to bring you the best bets for Game 3 of the World Series. Series knotted at 1 apiece, and we are heading back to Philadelphia for Game 3. So as we come in, guys, do me a favor, like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And shout out to BetMGM, who are sponsoring today's show, and they have an offer to give you $200 for free, basically. No risk to you. All you are going to have to do is sign up at BetMGM by clicking on the link below in the description box. And then when you head on over to BetMGM, you place a $10 bet on any NBA money line. And as long as there's a three-pointer hit in that game, it pays out $200. And it's going to happen every single game this year, every game last year, every game of my lifetime has had a three-pointer hit in it. So it is no-brainer bet. Take advantage of this offer before it goes away. $200 for free from BetMGM. Now, before I get into Game 3, also a quick roundup of my bets for Game 2 of the series. Went 1-1 on those bets. The one that won was I had the Astros winning the game outright. The losing bet was I had Zach Wheeler over for a strikeout prop, and he largely just kind of sucked in Game 2 of the series. He had some bad luck in the early going of the game where he had an error that allowed a run to score, but ultimately he wasn't very good. He only had 3 strikeouts. Over-under for strikeouts was 4.5. So that one was a loser. 1-1 for the bets on Saturday. Hopefully we could go undefeated on today's bets, which I'm going to get into right now. The best MLB bets for Game 3 of the World Series. For my first bet of the day, I'm taking the Astros to win outright, which I've actually picked them in for the World Series to win in total. I bet them in Game 2, betting them in Game 3 as well. And now when it comes to the Astros, more than anything today, I'm just fading Noah Syndergaard, who I think is pretty washed up at this point in his career. I was stunned the Phillies are starting him for Game 3 of the series. Now, I don't think he's going to work especially deep into the game, but even with that said, the Phillies don't have a great bullpen behind him. So let's break down some of the numbers here and why I'm on the Astros side. Syndergaard this year, 3.94 ERA in the regular season with a 4.43 expected ERA, 4.29 xFIP. So the 3.94 ERA was fairly mediocre, but the underlying numbers did suggest there's a little bit of good luck involved. And more so than anything, Syndergaard still carries some name value, but he's just not that guy anymore. His average fastball velocity is 94.5 miles per hour now. Not terrible, but this is a guy who in 2016 had a 99 average mile per hour fastball. In 2017, it was 100 miles per hour in the 7 starts that he had. So the stuff is pretty significantly weaker than it was back in his heyday, and as a result, the strikeout rate is way down. His K rate in the regular season was 16.8%. For his career, this is a guy who has a strikeout rate of 25%, and when he was at the peak of his powers, was right around 30%. So there's been a pretty significant drop-off in terms of the overall effectiveness of Noah Syndergaard, and I think the way the Phillies are trying to make up for that is just by having him probably pitch 3-ish or so innings today. But here's the issue. Behind him, their bullpen this year had a 4.27 ERA and a 3.71 FIP. So one of the weaker bullpens of any playoff team, and overall one of the teams that allowed some of the most runs of any bullpen in all of baseball. There's only a handful of teams that are worse bullpen ERA than the Philadelphia Phillies, whereas the Astros on the other side have an elite bullpen. So Lance McCullers on the mound for Houston. I'm about to talk more about him in a second, and I like him as a pitcher, but I really want to be fading Noah Syndergaard in this spot. I do not believe in him. I don't think the Phillies bullpen is great behind him. Good matchup for the Astros. I'm picking him to win tonight's game. For my other bet on tonight's game, I'm looking at over 5.5 strikeouts for Lance McCullers, which I actually more or less think is a fair number, but it's plus 116 on the over, and that's where I think we're getting a little bit of value, because over on OddsShopper, McCullers projected for 5.8 strikeouts, so the slight of lean towards the over, but it actually has a 16% expected ROI when you consider that it's plus 116 on the over. So that's where the value comes into play. If later on in the day, this is minus 110, minus 115 on the over, stay away from it. At plus money, there's a little bit of value to be had. And when it comes to Lance McCullers, he's pitched really well this year, both in the regular season and the postseason. So the regular season, Lance McCullers, 2.27 ERA, and then also the underlying numbers looked pretty solid for him, 3.49 FIP, 3.57 expected ERA. So maybe not quite as good as the 2.27 ERA, but still really solid. And most importantly, he was generating swing and misses this year. Despite all of the injuries that Lance McCullers has had, he still has pretty good fastball velocity, and his breaking stuff is still really good and generates a lot of swing and misses. So in the regular season, a 25.6% K rate for McCullers. And also, he got stronger and pitched better as the season went along, and he built up some strength. And I think that just kind of makes sense when you consider that he missed a large portion of the beginning of the year with an elbow injury. And now we're getting into the playoffs where McCullers, it's only 2 starts, but he's been lights out in those starts. 27.7% K rate, 2.45 ERA, 1.84 FIP. So really good stuff from McCullers in the postseason. I think he could continue that today. But most importantly, we're getting plus money on the over 5.5 strikeouts for him. So give me that number of plus money, over 5.5 Ks for Lance McCullers. So recapping my bets for game 3 of the World Series, I got the Astros minus 125 on the money line, and then over 5.5 strikeouts at plus money for Lance McCullers. Those are my bets for today. And then also for the overall World Series, I did bet the Astros before it started. So pivotal game 3 here for somebody to take a 2-1 lead. I hope it's going to be Houston, but who do you guys think is going to win? Let me know below in the comment section, Astros or Phillies. Also, before you leave, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and enjoy all the sports today.